There's a speed limit on the canals of 4 miles an hour. That's a fast walking pace. Slow down until the engine is just ticking over when passing fishermen and moored boats. Always travel in the centre of the canal, because the sides are shallow. When you meet a boat, pass it on the right, in other words, drive on the wrong side of the road. You can moor any way you like on the towpath side. The other side is private property and is often very shallow. You should, however, use a bit of common sense when mooring. Firstly, don't moor up close to bridges and locks unless you're using them. Secondly, don't moor up opposite turning points. And thirdly, only stay on water points long enough to fill up. Remember, you're not insured to drive the boat at night, and it's an offence to drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs. The hirer will be held personally responsible for any damage done or any injury caused in any of these circumstances, and you may be asked to leave the boat without any compensation. Unfortunately, steering can only be learnt by experience. There are a few points to remember which may help you when you start. Firstly, the boat is steered by a stick on the back called a tiller, which is pushed left to go right and right to go left. Secondly, the engine must be in forward gear to have any steering at all. This is because it's the thrust from the propeller hitting the rudder which makes the boat turn. No thrust, no turn. It also means the faster the propeller turns, the more positive the steering. There is no steering in reverse. Thirdly, the boat takes a few seconds to respond to steering commands. To start with, nudge it round corners instead of steering and get a feel for it. Fourthly, the boat does not turn its full length. It turns on approximately its midpoint. This means that if the back cannot go one way, the front cannot go the other. When approaching swing bridges, have a member of the crew on the front of the boat. The front of the boat should be brought in gently to the landing area, where the crew member should step off with the front rope. The crew member should then push the front back out, keeping hold of the rope. This helps bring the stern in, which the helmsman does with the engine, who then steps off with the stern rope. When they've got the boat in and parallel to the bank, the helmsman then changes to the centre rope and controls the boat while the crew goes to operate the bridge from the far side, taking the orange ball. Most of the swing bridges are farmers' tracks and are secured by a handcuff lock, which is unlocked with the key on the orange ball. The bridge is then opened by pushing a handle. When it's fully open, it should be held in position while the boat passes through, because it may start to swing back again. Make sure the boat is completely through the bridge. The boat then pulls in, ready to collect the crew. The crew should then shut the bridge and lock it if it was locked when they arrived. If another boat is coming or arriving during the operation, the crew should stay with the bridge until the canal is clear. There are also several bigger swing bridges for roads that are used by traffic. They are operated by the British Waterways key, also on the orange ball, which is inserted into the keyhole in the front of the control panel and turned 90 degrees clockwise. And remember, don't force it. When the key is turned, a panel lights up and gives instructions on how to operate the bridge. The button should be held down until each operation is complete. If it's released in the middle of the operation, the bridge will jam and it has to be reset by British Waterways, which can take anything between 2 hours and a day. Locks are means by which canal boats climb or descend hills. The locks on the Leeds and Liverpool canal are wide locks. This means that two narrow boats going in the same direction can share a lock. They are, however, only built for 62-foot boats, unlike the rest of the locks in the country, and there is therefore much turbulence in our locks. This means that more care is necessary in securing the boat, particularly when going up. The boat is raised or lowered by filling and emptying the lock. This can't be done just by operating the main gates. It's done by passing water through or round the gates using sluices, which are called paddles. There are two types of paddles. First, gate paddles, which open holes in the gates. These are operated by a windlass, a lock key, using a small hole. When these are used, be sure that the ratchet is on and there is a clicking noise. If not, they can go down suddenly and the windlass may fly off and injure you. 2. Ground paddles, which open the sluices in the ground and allow water to bypass the main gates. First, there's a simple lift-up handle. Or second, there's a wind-up type. Pull into the landing stage as you did for the swing bridges. Shut all the outer doors. If you have sufficient crew, one should stay on the boat with the helmsman and stand on the front of the boat. The remainder of the crew then go up to the lock with the windlass and orange ball. If it is empty, then the gates will open. If not, the lock must be emptied by using the gate paddles in the bottom gates. When the water levels are equal, the gates will open. The boat should now be brought into the lock and positioned against the wall on the same side as the ladder. Make sure the gate paddles are shut even if you didn't open them. The boat should be held steady and stopped from moving across the lock during filling by the front and rear ropes being passed around the front and rear bollards on the lock and passed back to the boat. Remember, keep the boat away from the gates and keep the boat against the side. If you're on a boat designed for two people, it will have a long rope on the front which should be passed around the centre bollard and given back to the helmsman to control the boat. When this has been completed, you are ready to operate the lock. Open the ground paddle on the same side as the boat first. When the water has covered the opening of the gate paddle may be opened gradually. Eventually water levels will be equal. At this point the ground paddles should be closed and the main gates opened. The boat can then be taken out. All gates and paddles should be closed before you leave, unless another boat is coming. Essentially, going down is the opposite of going up. There is very little turbulence in the lock because the water is emptying out and not coming in. The helmsman should pay special attention to the sill. This is the protruding platform on which the shorter top gates sit. It's clearly marked with white lines, and there are yellow and black warning signs on the balance beam of the lock gate. So remember, keep the back of the boat in front of the line, and keep the boat away from the gates. The boat you are on is longer than the canal is wide. Therefore you can only turn around in specified places. These are called winding holes and are listed on your manual and shown on the map, both of which are on your boat. You'll recognise them. They are a triangle cut out of the non-towpath side of the canal. When you wish, turn, steer the boat into the point of the triangle. Keep going forward until the boat stops. Then, keeping the tiller in the same place, keep the engine in forward gear. The back of the boat will start moving round. Take it further than you think necessary, and then reverse out. Well, that's it, and thank you for watching.